Aaron, let's talk about the larger plays here. We saw that Hamas said that they were going to hand over power to the Palestinian Authority in light of Donald Trump's all hell's going to break loose and his plans to relocate everybody in Gaza and take over the Strip. Is that signaling something on their part that they're a little bit worried about it? Is that reading too much into this?
No, I think Hamas would be drawing a page out of Hezbollah's book, actually, in Lebanon. That is to say, pre-hollowed out Hezbollah, where in fact you had the Lebanese government governing and interacting with the international community. Hezbollah retained its military power and its force, as well as its influence among the Shia constituency. I think Hamas does not want to govern the Gaza Strip. Governance has become, I think, a burden. I think one of the motivations, Katie, for October 7 was essentially get out of the governance trap. Where Hamas draws the line, the red line, is the preservation of its military force and its fighters. And I think it's going to be extremely difficult for the Israelis, even with American help, to figure out a way to crush Hamas's. They've eliminated its capacity as an organized military force capable of pulling up another October 7, but Hamas will remain the most formidable military actor in the Gaza Strip, content to let others. The Egyptians are proposing a technocratic administrative committee. They'd be perfectly fine with that because it relieves them from the complaints and criticism of the Palestinian population. Better governance, but we, Hamas, will maintain our military capability.
The Israelis aren't going to accept that. The Americans, under Donald Trump, he's not going to accept that. You have Marco Rubio in Saudi Arabia. No doubt this is going to come up. What do you believe the U.S. is trying to do here? Is it to actually take over the Gaza Strip, or is it to get the Middle East and leaders like MBS to move, to help try to rethink what's going to happen in Gaza?
I mean, I think that was the intention on the part of the president. He wanted to shake things up. He's a disruptor. So he puts out a proposal that, frankly, tethers the United States to a highly objectionable plan to either forcibly, even voluntarily, facilitate the removal of hundreds of thousands of Gaza. You validate the fantasies of the Israeli right. You undermine relations with Egypt and Jordan, and you send a very bad signal at a time when the Trump administration is beginning negotiations with Putin over Ukraine. You send a bad signal to Putin and President Xi that if you want territory, you give a press conference, just announce that you're taking it without any justification. So I think no. I think the Gaza proposal is dead on arrival. I think it may stimulate additional thinking among Egypt and Jordan and Saudi Arabia, but certainly not along the lines of the centerpiece of the president's idea, which is to relocate the entire population of Gaza, redevelop it, and also prevent them from returning.
So what is the next step here? You're having Hamas release 6 more hostages, including the dead, coming up. There's going to be a second phase of this negotiation. What are you predicting happens next?
Look, I think you got 3 options, Katie, and only 3. Number 1, you have implementation of phase 2. I don't see a chance in this universe that the Israeli government is going to agree, this Israeli government, to implement phase 2. And I see the Trump administration basically supporting that outcome. That's number 1. That's one option. Number 2 is you draw out phase 1. The Israelis are already pushing to see whether or not they could expand phase 1 to get more hostages out, presumably for more humanitarian assistance to come in, and perhaps for additional Palestinian prisoners. And then there's option 3, that the entire process breaks down and you get a resumption of the Israeli military campaign in Gaza. I think options 2 or 3, frankly, are more likely. And even if Hamas agrees to 2, to extend phase 1, I think we're headed for some kind of resumption of military activity by Israel in Gaza, which, frankly, for the hostages that remain, and the people of Gaza is going to present catastrophe.